This is the 10th part and final part of why we are no contact with my mother-in-law, who refers to herself as the sainted mother. And before we begin, trigger warning, I will put the suicide helpline on the screen. And if you are triggered by talks of suicide or police-assisted suicide, please feel free to reach out to the number listed. I don't want to trigger anybody with this part. His mom was upset about him being in contact with his aunt, who was asking for photos of her daughter who passed away at a very young age for her funeral. And my husband said, that's it, we're done. We're not talking anymore. This is over. And my mother-in-law did not stop there. She sent my husband a letter on his birthday that was like, my dearest son, you are a disgrace. Like, the rest of the letter was absolutely horrific. After this point, now obviously she has our address because we aren't answering phone calls, because we aren't answering texts. She decides she's just gonna start sending gifts to the house for the kids. So I would roll up to the house and there would be boxes and boxes. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, if we could use it, we used it. If we couldn't use it, we would donate it. And I donated so much shit to Toys for Tots from her. So a lot of kids got a really great Christmas because she sent nice stuff. And if we could use it, we used it. If we couldn't, like, we didn't. And the reason I didn't just immediately send things back is because when I did do that, it would cause her to contact us more and more. And when somebody's sending you unsolicited gifts that you're not asking for, you're not responding to, that's them trying to gain contact back with you. And you are under no obligation to send them a thank you note. You are under no obligation to respond to them. You are under no obligation to go and make returns on things that you didn't ask for from somebody you are not in contact with. It's not happening. I don't have time in my life to go run around all over town making returns just so that she can call and leave us voicemails. And at this point, I hadn't had her completely blocked just in case she passed away or something emergency happened, because I'm not a soulless, heartless person. And if she was in the hospital, I wanted to know about it. So at this point, we're getting packages and packages and packages on the porch. And then we received the bouncy house. And if you saw the original bouncy house video that I posted years ago, like a year and a half ago, she sent us a bouncy house without a blower. She sent us a bouncy house without a blower, so we would have to contact her. Or so we would go and have to spend like $100 on a bouncy house blower. What I ended up doing is finding a $10 bouncy house blower off of Facebook Marketplace. My kids enjoyed the shit out of that. And did I tell them it was from their grandmother, who refers to herself as Salty to our children, by the way. I didn't tell you that part of the story. She wanted to be called Salty, not Grandma Salty, just Salty, because she's salty. I didn't tell them that she sent it, but I didn't tell them that like I gave it to them or that like my parents gave it to them. I just told them somebody special sent it to them whenever there was something that she sent that we could use. And if she sent something that we couldn't use, it would just get donated and my kids were none the wiser. And at this point, my kids don't even remember her. Like right now, my kids don't remember her. They have zero recollection. They honestly don't think that my husband has a mom. And when they're old enough to learn the whole story, we will tell them. It's been like months since we've seen her, maybe a year, I don't remember. I am at the car wash and I'm vacuuming out my car and there's a police officer who's pulled up next to me. And he sees the kids and I wave at him and I said, oh, they love police officers. And he brings them over some stickers and the kids put stickers on their shirts. And I get home and like half an hour later, that same police officer comes and knocks on my door. And I was like, what the world's going on? He's like, hey, is Matthew home? And I say, no, my husband is not home right now, but what's going on? What is this concerning? And he said, your mother-in-law has called the police station. She states that she can't get a hold of you and that there's a family emergency that needs your urgent attention. So I say, okay, I'll let my husband know and I'll have her call her as soon as I get a hold of him. So my husband was actually at a job interview. So I called him on his way home and I'm like, hey, something's going on. The police showed up at the house. They're saying that your mom says that there's some family emergency and that she can't reach us and you need to call her. And he calls her. And she is stating that she is going to call the police and let them know that she's armed and she's going to leave the house. And she is trying to do police-assisted suicide. At some point when we were in contact with them, it was like known that his father had purchased a weapon for her. If you catch my drift, I can't say the actual word. And so we let the police officer know of that. So while Matt's on the phone with her, he pulls into the driveway and he texts me what's going on. And he says, you need to call the police in her hometown and tell them what's going on. So I do. So I'm on the phone with the police. He's on the phone with her. And eventually the police are like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to three-way call in with your husband and get her on the phone with a police officer so we can get her to get outside of the house, because obviously this is a very serious situation and we don't take anything like that lightly in our family at all. And So she's on the phone with my husband and the police officer, and at this point the police officer is talking to her and she doesn't know my husband's still on the phone because now she's just like patched through to the police officer. And then she starts to tell the police officer that my husband is lying. Obviously she's probably not in her right mind at this point. This is a crisis that's ongoing, right? So she's telling the police officer, she's like saying my husband is lying, telling him that we're withholding the children from her and she doesn't know why. And the police officer, before he had gotten on the phone with my husband, was asking, like, can we tell her that she can come and see the kids to calm her down? And no, like, that's not happening. Like, don't make her promises that we're not keeping, because we are not interested in that. And I know that she's in a bad way right now, but that's still not, like, we're not doing that. And eventually the police officer and my husband get off the phone. Obviously my husband is distraught because this is like a very traumatic situation to be put in. And we have not heard from her since. We do know that, like, we followed up with the police officer after the incident was over. They let us know that she was taken to the hospital, but other than that, we haven't spoken with her. I hope to God that she is healing from all of this. I hope that maybe, should she come across these videos and hear it from our perspective, that she can understand why we made some of the decisions that we made. I hope that this story could help somebody out there. Maybe you're a parent whose children went no contact with you and you've exhibited some of these behaviors towards them. Maybe this can open your eyes. If you are a person who is going through this with a parent or an in-law or something, or a family member, you are not alone. You are not crazy. Like, this is actually happening. And sadly, this was our real life for a long time. That is the end of the Mother-in-Law Chronicles, and I hope that that truly stays the end. We have no intention of reaching out. We have no intention of gaining contact back with her or having her be a part of our life or our children's life. It's just not healthy for us, and I wish her all the best. Truly, I hold no ill will for her. I know we went through a whole bunch of really shitty things over the last 10 years throughout this whole situation, but I would love for her to thrive and have a good rest of her life and just have it not include us. And as sad as that is, because I'm a mom to 2 kids, and I cannot imagine having my child or having my child's spouse say that about me, because it would hurt me deeply. I also have been making little life lesson notes this entire time of things I will never do and positions I will never put my children in, because I don't want to be the sainted mother.